Hamilton East Stony Creek.
Thank you, Speaker. My question's to the Premier. Jeff lives in Hamilton and is behind on his hydro bill. Had he listened to the Premier, Jeff might have thought he was now safe from winter disconnections. But Jeff pays his hydro bill to a private company that submeters his apartment building. The Minister of Energy said on Tuesday that the OEB's winter disconnection ban included such companies. But yesterday, the OEB said the exact opposite, stating in an email that the OEB's decision and order does not apply to unit sub-metering providers. Can the Premier explain what's going on?
Thank you. Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to stand and rise and answer that question, Mr. Speaker.
The member from Hamilton Mountain is Warren. Finish, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I'm pleased to say standing and rising to address this issue, Mr. Speaker. We are going to work with the OEB to address this, Mr. Speaker, because we do recognize that this is something that needs to be addressed. When we talked about no winter disconnects right across the province, Mr. Speaker, we meant everybody, so we're going to continue to work with the OEB on this, Mr. Speaker. But when it comes to where we've seen these issues arise, Mr. Speaker, we recognize that some families, some individuals were having a hard time, Mr. Speaker, paying their bills. That's why, Mr. Speaker, today we've announced that we're reducing all rates, Mr. Speaker, by 25%.
Supplementary.
Well, Speaker, Jeff allows ODSP to manage the payment of his bill so he can handle it. But Jeff's hydro bill has been going up so quickly over the last year that ODSP, through no fault of their own, can't keep up. They pay a predetermined amount each month based on Jeff's typical hydro costs. But it hasn't been enough because bills are going up so quickly. Each time they increase, the monthly payment falls behind. They're still behind the curve, and arrears are spiraling. Jeff's neighbours are in the same situation. Many in Hamilton are. Today's announcement won't help Jeff or his neighbours. And you know what? I'd just like to announce today that I'm taking a second mortgage on my house so my grandkids can pay their hydro bill. What will this government do to help people climb out from the hole that's being dug by this province and this Premier? Thank you.
Thank you. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The plan that we announced today is actually going to help families and individuals like the honourable member mentioned, Mr. Speaker. The Affordability Fund, for example, will actually help these individuals, Mr. Speaker, get out of that perpetual cycle of always being behind, Mr. Speaker, because of many reasons. Let's say they have electric heat and they haven't invested in insulation or upgrading their windows because they haven't had the necessary pocket money, Mr. Speaker, to do that. This Affordability Fund will allow them now to access those dollars to make the necessary upgrades to their home, Mr. Speaker, and that way they'll see their bills lower even more by conserving, Mr. Speaker, which then, on top of that, Mr. Speaker, has a benefit for everyone across the province, just like the benefit that we announced today, Mr. Speaker. That 25% reduction that everyone will be getting across the province is something that we should all be proud of, Mr. Speaker, because we are helping every family in this province.